Welcome to Spin Justice with me, Hayley Owens, the podcast where I'll be talking about anything from health and fitness to the injustices of the world and everything in between. I've worked within the criminal justice system for over 20 years and have more recently taken to teaching indoor cycling, otherwise known as spin. Each week I'll be talking to a different guest about a topic that's personal to them, whether it be to raise awareness or just because. Most episodes will contain strong language because of who I am as a person, so if that's not for you, then probably best to swerve. Any opinions expressed by me are my own. Today's episode is sponsored by DNA Boxing School of Excellence. Big up to Danger and the team there for all the amazing things they're doing in the community, whether it be kids classes or one-to-one boxing training. So if you or anyone you know are interested in improving their fitness, because why wouldn't you, make sure you give them a shout. Today's episode is sponsored by Southpaw Building and Property Services. Shout out to Julian and the lads who are covering all types of building work, whether it's extensions, drives, landscaping and new builds, covering a 30-mile radius of Birmingham and local districts. Welcome.
How you doing?
Dan Hadley.
Good. Yeah.
From the PIC podcast.
Yes.
PIC, People I Know
Yep.
podcast. So we've been introduced through Aaron, who's here in the studio, and we've obviously had a chat only in the last week.
Yeah.
But I've been following your stuff, and I like what you're saying, and very supportive. So the videos you've been putting on the last few days, nothing but support.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So when we had a chat last week, initially when we first spoke, I thought we could talk about recovery from drugs and a recent relapse of yours that you posted on social media. And then the more we got to talking, which is always the same, isn't it, with every guest?
Yeah.
You scratch beneath the surface and you see what's behind. And so I said to you, I really want to talk about your upbringing and growing up in the care system. So that's what this episode is going to be about. So a little trigger warning for anyone that might be triggered by that. But we are very similar people, I think. We don't hold back, don't, edit things and just say it as it is.
Just put it out as it is.
Put it out as it is and just say it as it is. And I'll ask questions and, I'm sure you won't be scared to answer anything.
No,
from
go as deep as you want.
Yeah.
As direct as you
Yeah,
want.
yeah. And that's what I liked when we were chatting last week. I thought you clearly are like me.
Yeah, I think if I'm probably missed the boat on holding stuff back.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
It's still on social media, so.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'll come on to that in a minute, but just take me back, not too far, but just into how you ended up in the care system at what age?
I was growing up, and I think at the time when we grew up, ADHD was kind of not so much heard of. I'm on the spectrum with Asperger's as well, so I was a bit of a pain in the arse, and I didn't quite gel at home. My mum is an absolutely amazing woman, and I love her to bits, but it's took me a long time to get there.
Yeah,
so I live with various family members. Nan and Granddad is where I finished up, and then that didn't work out because I was just a handful. I was just kind of did what I wanted to do. No one was going to tell me. That hasn't really changed.
Yeah.
41 now, it's pretty much the same deal. So I ended up. I went into a children's home.
Yeah.
Initially for a respite, to give my mum some respite, and then I just didn't go home, and then when I did go home, it was for short periods, and then it wouldn't work out. I was fairly unruly, as a kid. Lighting fires, big fires, and just being a bit of a twat, really.
How old were you then?
I think I was about 11 when I first went into probably 11, 12.
It's a lot of high school age.
Just before high school. Yeah, and then. I was expelled from school for carrying a knife before knife crime was knife crime,
Yeah.
And that's not because I was anything special, I think it's because I was scared.
Yeah.
And the same thing we're trying to educate people on today. That people carry knives because they're scared, not, and
Yeah.
and so that was the reason I was doing it. I was probably getting bullied and I just wasn't having it.
Yeah. So you prepared yourself for that in case. Yeah. So I want to come back to something there on your mum.
Yeah.
But so you've gone into, so you're in and out of children's homes. Was it sort of like different children's homes?
I did 3 in total. The first one was a place in Reading, and then the second one was a bigger one, and then the last one was a smaller one, and there was this. There's a gap in the care leavers, So when you're 16, you leave care.
Yeah.
You're too young to really to sign for a property. So you just left care, and then I did get a property. I was in supported living for a little while.
Yeah, because that's a real dangerous area, isn't it? 16's no age, really, is it?
No.
It's like you're still a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. And I felt that. When I was living on my own in a flat, and I still needed my mum.
Yeah.
And I longed for her. Do you know what I mean? I longed to have that relationship with my mum.
Yeah.
And I have that now. I have that. Just an absolute lovely relationship.
Now at this age, good.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about your mum. Like, now that you've got that relationship, what does she say about? Because you've got children, yeah?
Yes.
How many you got?
I've got 3 children of my own,
yeah.
and then children who I've effectively fostered.
So and I've got 2 boys, and I threaten my youngest with children's homes.
Yeah.
And he's 11, 12. Well, he's 12 now. And I'd love to know, like, how did your mum? She must have been at the end of her tether.
Do you know what I'm trying? Because I don't want to say, I don't want to say anything that's out of line. It would be hard to comment on her.
Yeah.
Do you know? And it wouldn't be fair.
No, I'd love to know, like because from a mum's perspective, my boys have pushed me to the limits, and we've got like a yacht, like a young offenders place by us, and I'm not ashamed to say I've driven up there with him in the car and said, like, see those bars on those windows? You're going to be going in there, and it sounds bad, but sometimes it's the only thing that sort of brings him back into line, and I just can imagine from her perspective, I'm
trying to, just, and I can tell you what was going on for her at the time, So, she was just looking to be loved.
Yeah.
Unhealthy relationships, domestic abuse on all levels, emotional, mental, physical. And then you've got me, and as small as I was, I was probably abusing her.
Yeah.
And I suppose we were probably abusing each other.
Yeah.
Trying to force a disconnect in order to reconnect.
Yes, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Like a reset.
And just just going at it constantly. Trying to, I'm not asking for love. She's trying to love me, but somewhere in the middle,
there's a clash.
We're just not meeting up.
Yeah. So, right, first children's home then.
Yeah.
First day. What's your thoughts? What can you remember?
Oh, do you know what? Yeah, we did a promo video last year with Making Change when we first started working with them, and Erin asked me the same question. Or I remember doing the video actually. I just felt like the loneliest kid in the world.
Did you?
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, once those feelings pass, and it's like, okay, cool, I've got this. I'm on my own.
Yeah, and then you have to toughen up.
Yeah.
Because I remember when we spoke on the phone last week, you talked about sharing rooms with kids in order to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And I want to go into this a little bit. And I took from that, although the words weren't said, I got what you meant. Protect yourself from abuse.
Yeah, mainly the second one, all types of abuse.
Yeah.
And I could never kind of qualify it and say, oh, this was happening. Definitely physical, experience physical.
Yeah. From other kids in the home or from
other
people
kids, and some people that work there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I made it pretty well known. I was carrying a knife as well.
Yeah.
Like, don't come near me.
Yeah.
And I was loud and I was aggressive.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That helped you.
You just know there's stuff going on. Do you know what I mean? You see kids deteriorate.
Yeah, because that really broke my heart when you told me that, when you said there's kids that you saw disappear, into the shadows and you could tell that was because they were being abused and things like that. And because not everyone's the same. Like, I'm like you, I'm a loudmouth cow. I'd be sort of like, fucking try it, kind of thing. But not, Jesus, God, there's so many people that aren't like that and would be victims.
Yeah. And just, those places are there's a hierarchy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at that age, you're not self-aware enough to see actually, I suppose there is some empathy along the way, but you place yourself in the hierarchy and essentially you try and climb up.
Yeah.
And whether you get together with a couple of lads and do it that way, or whether you do it on your own.
Yeah.
There were older kids in there and there was younger kids, so there was a natural hierarchy.
Yeah. What was the age range like? What's the youngest in there?
Probably about 11 to 16.
Right. Yeah.
Because
I would imagine there would there be a younger sort of children's
home?
home?
They're run better now.
Yeah.
They appear to be run better.
Yeah.
They're smaller homes, smaller units.
Yeah.
And so I would hope they are.
Yeah.
I would hope the children get more time. But even at that age, you're aware. These guys finish a shift and go home.
Yes.
So there's no real continuity.
Yeah. And you're going to get children are going to get on better with some, better than others. They're not all going to. The staff that work there aren't all going to be bad, are they? Some are going to be bad. And I'd really like to do a bit more research on this. Actually, remind me, Carl. I'd like to do a bit on this. And definitely try and do a bit more research into the care system and how children can be helped. And also, well, I've spoke to Carl about this. You didn't actually answer me on this, by the way. I want to do a paedophile hunter episode.
Okay.
And I know that there's sting operations and stuff that's going on. Like these ones that's the decoys and they set up.
Yeah.
Pretend to be like a teenage child, a child, and then they attract someone and they start talking and then they find them. I really want to do an episode on that. But child abuse in general I'm very passionate about this. So I sort of feel like anyone that could be helped, I'm in.
It's it's a tough area to get into,
Real tough.
I would say to anyone that wants to join the police, there are specialist units that do that.
There are specialist units, and do you know what? I've said this before. I'll get my tea as well. I've said this before. I've been on another podcast recently, The Talking Tradesman, and we talk quite a lot about my police career.
Yeah.
And I said, if my kids said to me they wanted to join the police, I'd say over my dead body, because they don't get paid enough for the shit they do. And it's not, and that is speaking from 20 years within that system. But obviously without them, people aren't going to get help, are they? So it's a real, tough.
For me, I think we have to be real careful. We don't go into a vigilante kind of.
I know.
And I don't know enough about it. I suppose I'll kind of solve half my problems by staying out of other people's. It's a bit, just blind to it. But I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
It's a tough one.
That's exactly what I say. Yeah, ignorance is bliss sometimes in terms of what you don't know. Exactly what we were talking about on that episode in terms of I was overexposed for such a long time. It made me ill. And then once I'd had shitloads of therapy, I then became very, very desensitised to everything, and I still am.
Yeah.
So it's one of them, isn't it? But I've still got passion for things, and I still sort of, do you know what I mean? So it's something I'd like to explore more. But we're going off topic as I always do.
Right.
So, at what point did the drugs come in for you?
Oh, just probably 11, 12, being conservative, 12 years old, excuse me, not with the McDonald's, 12 years old, kind of normal cannabis. I progressed quite quickly, actually, onto Class A's. And again, what we'd know now as county lines.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't called county lines then, it was just a dealer from the next town.
They're going on like it's a new thing.
Yeah.
It's going on for fucking years.
Been around.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, just kind of selling, and then I moved on to crack and heroin fairly quickly.
What age? When?
Probably 13.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, heroin, 14 maybe, crack. Yeah.
Was this within the care system that you were sort of introduced to it?
Yeah, I was in care, you
Yeah.
know, but there just wasn't the awareness around it, you know, and it wasn't habitual like it was when I was 27. You know, that those were totally different people.
Mm.
You know, it was kind of out on a Friday night, you know, and we were in clubs at 14, you know, 15,
Yeah.
and you know, we'd go home and smoke crack and yeah, and I would take heroin. Other people around me didn't, you know.
Smoke it.
At
that age.
Yeah, smoking. Yeah.
How did it feel? Do you remember at that age, at such a young age, how it felt for you?
Yeah. Like a warm blanket on a cold day.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and just, you know, if my life was fairly, you know, just like one disaster to another, it felt like at that point.
Yeah.
You know, I'd probably already had a suicide attempt at about 12. And essentially I was just looking for love, you know, and I found that with heroin.
Yeah.
You know, I found that.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, and that love lasted for a long time before it became, you know, really toxic.
Yeah. I did first episode I ever did was on addiction with my friend Dave, and he said to me the only relationship I was capable of having was with the drugs.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the basis for all my relationships with everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I used with my friends. I used on my own. Yeah, it was just, you know, I suppose, you know, growing up, you know, it was mainly cannabis would have been the one, but you know, that is my nature to do things that have not been done before.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and that was what I did.
So from that age then, if you're like early teens now, really, and taking such strong drugs, you know, like crack and heroin, how much were you spending on it? And how would you source it? Because
so I was dealing at the time.
Oh, okay.
So you know, I was dealing at the time from a young age. And it wasn't like, you know, I suppose, you know, if you're thinking of like a street heroin addict or a crack heroin, you know, it wasn't that. You know, it was recreational Friday thing.
Okay.
You know, and then kind of I did that for about 10 years. You know,
way,
worked and functioned and.
Oh, so you were just functioning on that and just, you know, day to day living.
Yeah. Kind of, you know, smoking cannabis daily, but Friday night, you know, we would probably hit the hard stuff.
Yeah, because when I think of like hard drugs like that, I almost feel like that's quite controlled from you then to just be doing it like once or twice a week.
Yeah, looking back, I've probably done about 3 rattles and just thought I had the flu.
Yeah,
you know, I was so naive to it. You know, I just didn't realise, you know,
yeah,
what I was getting into.
Yes.
And then I was probably about 24. And I called into work sick and rang my dealer to bring some heroin round.
Yeah.
And then when I took that, I felt better. And then I realised that I'd become dependent.
Yeah.
I've probably been dependent for a long time, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
where were you working at the time?
I was working in, I was selling car parts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just
holding down a normal job then.
Yeah, just a normal job.
Yeah.
You know, but make no mistake, you know, drugs were in comparison to now, you know, they were ruling my life.
So tell me about your friend that you met in the care system.
So Chris, I went to school with Chris, and I went to school with Chris, and he wasn't in the care system at the time, you know, and I would be living at home periodically, and then I think we're about 12, 13, and Chris got a call. Chris got a call. We got a call to say Chris's mum had been killed by his dad.
Right.
And, you know, so me and Chris did a lot of our using together. And, you know, we were kind of bonded by these experiences, you know, using together, both being in the care system. He was in a foster home. I was in the children's home. Kind of lost kids, you know, with no real kind of, although it's not the truth, you know, no real home to call home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, Chris died last year.
Yes.
And we are currently raising money to get his mum a headstone.
So we still need to donate to that. I will do that. Remind me.
No, in your own time. Everyone's.
Yeah, we'll put the link on as well.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. Yeah, I'd appreciate that. So I think we got about 600 quid. we've also got a stonemasons on board. They're going to do us a good deal on that. So,
has Chris got a proper headstone?
Chris was cremated. So
has it got anywhere that you can visit?
Yeah, that's all been done. You know, his ex-partner done a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
And so you know, Chris was the first guest we had on the Pick podcast.
Yeah.
And he was the kind of reason behind it. You know, I got in touch with making changes for a mutual friend. And just said, look, I've got this idea, you know, I want to do a podcast. And they've supported us ever since, really. You know, and they've supported us. They sponsored the podcast. So, and kind of made it happen. Without them, it wouldn't be possible.
Without making changes?
Yeah. You know, they liked what we were doing, you know, the idea. And, you know, even though I've done some pods out in Thailand when I was out there, you know, as soon as I came home, you know, we just hit the ground running and we're doing one a week at the minute. So.
Yeah, that's what we do, really, about one a week. So, Chris, you use him with Chris.
Yeah.
And like you sort of bound together or bonded through trauma.
Yeah.
Is basically the friendship, isn't it? And was he as dependent as you?
Oh, yeah, you know, I've probably still got a bit of a resentment because he wouldn't share a bag with me.
He wouldn't?
No, I was really ill. He was like, no, I need it all, you know, but you know, that's how addiction is.
Yeah.
You know, and I think he bought the last bag.
Yeah.
So I was all pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and do you know what, man? You know, Chris's story, you know, his mum was brutally murdered. And you know, so he'd kind of grown up, you know, his entire life, people kind of hearing bits about his story, which was his story. He'd never told it to anybody.
Yeah.
And then I rang him and I said, look, I've got an idea. I want to do a podcast with you, and you know, I want you to tell your story. And then you know, he thought about it, and he was alcohol dependent at the time. So yeah, he came to me and he did the story, and we did the pod, and then I let him watch the episode back. And you know, there was a real deliberation at the time as to whether we should put it out.
Okay, why?
Because he was alcohol dependent. Right. You know, so that meant he was under the influence of alcohol that day. You know, not, you know, someone who's alcohol dependent isn't necessarily pissed.
But, yeah, they need it, don't they?
Yeah, and then you know, we spoke with Erin making changes, and we, you know, and I spoke with Chris, and we kind of all came to the agreement that we should put it out because it showed the journey. You know, how someone goes from being, you know, a teenage boy into active addiction and what happens to them in between that. So that, you know, it was a really powerful episode. And then Chris saw the pod and then rang me and said, I want to get clean done. So we did that. You know, he managed to get some sobriety. Yeah. And he lost his life. You know, nothing to do with being in active addiction. You know, through essentially he had a cardiac arrest. You know, so I'm glad he got clean. I'm glad he had that time. Yeah. I'm glad he had that time.
Have you ever been a drinker?
No.
Always?
Maybe a bit of hooch down the park. But yeah, you know, once I'd found heroin, you know, you know, I thought I'd found the cure for life.
Yeah.
You know, but
yeah, because some people, I mean, in particular Dave's episode of mine, he's progressed from drinking pills, couple of lines, for ages, years and years. Couldn't get any coke. Dealer got him some crack, heroin, injecting both. Yeah, homeless. Like, you know, and then
it happens quick.
Yeah, so he now can't drink because he's like, if I have a drink, I want a line. Yeah, and this is how it goes. So he stays away from everything. Yeah, I mean, he's doing bodybuilding at the minute. He's 8 years clean. And he's like doing fantastic. I'm going to get him back on actually because his bodybuilding is mental.
It's another addiction.
It's another addiction. The gym, yeah. But he's it's on like 5,000 calories a day at one point to bulk, you know. Yeah. But anyway, so I wondered whether you were ever tempted with the drink or whether that was another avenue of addiction for you.
No, you know, I kind of skipped it, and you know, and I understand where he's coming from, you know, in terms of. You know, I just can't put a substance inside me that that's I just can't put a substance inside me. It's just not going to work out well.
Yeah. So because you got clean, didn't you?
Yes.
So it's presumably then it's got to a point where you've thought enough's enough, and I'm gonna get clean. So this was what, 2.5 years ago?
I went to I had some time before that as well. I went to rehab in 2018. Jericho House in Derby, really good treatment centre.
Yeah.
And I say really good, they're not everyone's cup of tea, but these guys, they told me about myself.
Yes.
They didn't mess around.
Yeah.
And they just told me, you're just hurting people.
Yeah, because there's lots of work that people don't realise that go on into treating addicts, isn't there?
Yeah.
In terms of self-validation and things like that. Dave's taught me loads about what he learned through treatment, not necessarily about coming off drugs, just about behaviours and understanding your own behaviours and things like that. And I've actually tried to get someone from his treatment centre. I've approached and said, will you come on? But not for them, didn't want to come on camera. So if you know anyone.
He sounds like a 12-stepper.
Oh, he is a 12-stepper.
So they won't really talk about it. I get told off a lot for talking about it. I've had an argument with someone on Facebook this morning.
Why?
Because they're saying it's anonymous.
Right.
And, it's attraction, not promotion. And I kind of get it. They live by traditions and a set of principles. We were talking about this the other day, weren't we? Because people don't agree with what I do. And I've got a sponsor and he says, what you're doing is not recovery. I said, no, okay, cool.
What do you mean by that?
He just said, what did my sponsor say to me? He said, move quietly, will you? Stop making so much noise.
But what noise are you making?
I absolutely understand where he comes from. So, the whole kind of social media thing, I have to be really careful, around that. And this is what Dave was talking about with behaviours, that's not feeding my ego. And it does. And it does. And I feel it. And I feel it when it's not there.
Yes.
And if I don't hit my target views, I feel that.
Right.
And then I'm going to the partner for a little stroke on the back of the head just to feel validated.
Yeah. Funny. Another podcast I've been on recently was a parenting one.
Yeah.
Hayley Brown. She talks a lot about self-validation, doesn't she? She's the podcast called Inadequate Mother.
Yeah.
And she talks a lot about seeking validation from social media.
Yeah.
And it is a thing, isn't it? It's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
So that there was.
It's another aspect of addiction, a behaviour, and it's not to say that I deny it or I don't do it, but I have to be mindful of it. Really mindful.
Yeah, I think we all do though. Today's episode is sponsored by DNA Boxing School of Excellence, situated on Maryvale Road in Birmingham and delivering fitness for the whole family. Big up to Danger and the team there for the amazing work they're doing in the community. For more information, check out the description below for their contact details. This episode is sponsored by Southport Building and Property Services. Julian and the team have over 20 years of experience and offer an extensive range of building services. Check out the description below for all of their information. Right, so tell me about getting clean.
That's right. We've gone off getting clean. So I went to rehab 2018. I was in rehab about 7.5 months. I left there. Started volunteering, working for drug services. Ended up working for a project attached to the police, kind of test on arrest stuff. And then moved away, bought a house, had a baby.
Yeah.
Had the car that painting the fence on a Sunday, all that bullshit. Yeah, and I was there. So there I am, thinking I've made it.
Yeah.
And I always used to say, you see them guys cutting the hedge on a Sunday in the flipping sandals. I always used to say, if I end up like that, someone would shoot me. And there I was on a Sunday, in a pair of Reeboks, but and I was thinking, okay, I've arrived.
Yeah.
No meetings. So relapse is what I'm coming to. Very quick relapse.
What's quick?
Like a line of cocaine quick.
Okay.
Yeah, like a bit of a waste of a relapse.
Yeah.
It wasn't really worth it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But got arrested. I was working in the police station at the time.
Yeah.
And anyway, that relationship didn't work out. And then, got some more clean time. And then, when you're using drugs that quickly and then just pulling out of it, it's obvious that you no longer want it.
Yeah.
If you're back in it for months, and there's still a lack of kind of surrender there.
Yeah.
But when you're in and out of it that quick, it's like, there's a bit of you that no longer wants that life. The using.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Definitely. Because 7 months in rehab's quite a long time.
Yeah, 6 months is a good treatment centre.
What's that like? What's it like in there? Is it like prison?
It's hard work.
You're allowed
hard
out?
Work. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you're allowed out with your staff, and I did a meeting. I did a 12-step meeting every day.
Yeah.
Effectively what they did was, and they told me when I got there, and I was just bamboozled by the language at the time, and they said, we're going to love you until you learn to love yourself.
Oh, I love that.
And I was like, what does that even fucking mean?
Yeah.
Just what does it mean? Like, what, because it was just, and I get it now.
Yeah.
I get it now, and, kind of getting a relationship with myself. And I was a pain in the arse in treatment. I've got a smart mouth. I've got an answer for everything. And I wasted a lot of time in there.
Did you?
Yeah, just kind of pissing people off. Being smart, and rather than just being vulnerable.
Yeah, because you were.
Yeah. But I was the only one that couldn't see it. Everyone else could see it.
Yeah. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm, what I'm capable of when I use, is quite dark. The sort of person I am and how I feel about myself.
Yeah. In a negative way.
Just, I don't think negative does it justice.
Right.
Real polar opposites to who I am when I'm sober.
It's madness, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's talk about this this recent relapse then. Yeah. So that's been very recent, hasn't it?
Yeah, less than November, end of November.
So we're in now February.
Yeah.
20th of Feb.
Yeah. So
3 months.
Around this time.
Was it?
Yeah. So around this time in November, I was operations manager for a 12-step treatment centre, Hayley Rehab in Thailand. I'd gone over there after working for the NHS, and kind of quickly, just they spotted me and just said, look, we want to offer you manage the operations, the day-to-day running of the treatment centre. So I was like, okay, great. And you know what? Again, I just stopped. Same situation as with the partner, the baby, the house. Stop putting this recovery stuff first, and I said on a recent podcast, just because I'm going to work and delivering recovery doesn't mean I'm in recovery. It just means I'm good at my job.
Yeah.
So I wasn't kind of living. It's really hard to go and be someone all day, and then to come away from work and feel so shit about yourself.
Really? Is that how you felt?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, just totally,
Was that like a bit of a depression then, would you say?
No, it's more than that, it's just more than that.
What is it? Try and explain it to me.
It's like internal conflict.
Yeah.
It's more than depression, because I can get up and put a smile on and then it's more than that, it's dare I say spiritual, but it is a spiritual malady. Like there's this hole in me, I just can't fill with anything.
How do you feel about that now?
I'm all right. Today I'm all right.
Today you're okay.
I do what I need to do to keep me clean. That it's not a big ask.
Yeah.
And and I do all right.
Yeah. Because Dave says that I'm not using today. 8 years he's been clean, and he still says it's a day at a time.
Yeah.
And this is no comparison at all. But like I'm trying not to drink.
Yeah.
And it's been 2 months.
How you getting on with it?
I think about it every day.
Yeah, there you go. You have a small insight.
Yeah, I think, but like, and I don't know whether I'm playing this down or it's just that it's not that much of a big deal, but I like a drink.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know. I just think it chills me out. But when I say I like a drink, I sometimes only want one beer.
Yeah.
And that's it. And sometimes I'll go a month without having a drink. But I can take it too far.
Yeah.
And it's that makes me think just stop, because it's the next day. It's like the anxiety.
Yeah.
And a couple of months ago, to be perfectly honest and to be fair to me, I hadn't realised at the time, but I'd messed up my medication. So I'd been taking a higher dose of medication without realising it for a week. And then I'd gone out and drank a particularly strong lager that I wouldn't normally drink because it's all they had. And I was fucked the next day. Right. By 10 o'clock at night, I still hadn't eaten. And I was fucking rocking, really, really not good. Really tearful all day. And then I realised, because I can't take my meds without eating. So when I'd finally eaten at 10 o'clock at night and then took my meds, the ones that I looked at, I was like, fuck, they're too strong. And then realised you've been taking these all week and that's probably why you feel like this now.
Yeah.
Anyway, I haven't drank since then. So it's been a couple of months now.
It's interesting, because you said I go a month without it, and it's interesting. I'd like to, what are you doing in that month when you're not drinking? What does your life look like?
Oh mate, I'm fucking sound as a pound. I run a very tight ship in my house. My boys are teenagers, so I'm up. My house is spotless. The dinner's cooked every day. I'm on the bike teaching spin 7 days a week. So this isn't something that's like. It's just say on a Wednesday night they stop at the dad's, I could easily drink a bottle of red wine.
Yeah, okay.
But then I've got a 7 o'clock class on a Thursday morning, and when the alarm goes off at 6 and you've drank a bottle of red wine the night before, it slows me down on the bike the next day. Yeah. So like it doesn't stop me doing anything, but it slows me down. Yeah, definitely.
And we can miss it. It's really subtle, so we can miss it. So you said then, that they go to their dads, and I should imagine when your children are around, as much as my children are a pain in the arse. I'm connected with another human being. Yeah. So, when my children are not with me, there's like a bit of a void. As much as they do my head in. Oh, yeah. And you might, it's so subtle, this stuff, we might not be seeing it. They've gone to their dads, and we just go straight from that to that. I'll just have a drink because the kids are away. Yeah. But what we're missing is that gap. Yes. See, like now, we're in the school holidays and the kids have gone to their dads last night till Sunday. Yeah. Now, I'm non-stop. I've got 3 jobs. I'm on the bike 7 days a week, running a house by myself, bringing the boys up and stuff. So I'm spinning loads of plates and I'm run ragged. Yeah. So I'm desperate for a break. Yeah. So like last night, they've gone to their dads for a few days and I'm thinking just to not have to cook for anybody else or clean up after anybody else. It's just like, oh God, I'm just desperate for this break. But then in my head, I'm thinking, am I going to have a drink? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But I have got like this. Once we've finished this, I've got nothing to do for the rest of the day. Yeah. Apart from walk the dog. Do you know what I mean? And then like tomorrow, I've got to work all day, then teach spin. Saturday morning, I'm up and I'm on the bike. And then I've got nothing to do for the rest of the day. And it's those gaps, isn't it, where you think it's easy then. Yeah. Well, we're looking for it. And then when we get it, it's like, well, what do I do with it? Because my meaning and purpose is gone. Yeah, yeah. And I'll be totally straight with you now. So yeah, I'm clean. I'm in recovery. But my whole life, like effectively, you could say I'm still using. Yeah. I'm still seeking dopamine. I'm here doing a podcast with you now that I'm going to get a little hit off that. I'm going to somewhere else to do another podcast. I'm going to get a little hit off that. Yeah. I'm going to go home. I'm going to be around people that my loved ones. I'm going to get a little hit off that. Yeah. I'm going to go to a meeting later. I'm probably, so it's like, I'm busy. And then, come Saturday, Sunday morning, I've got nothing to do. Yeah, and that's the key, isn't it? Piece of shit. Yes. I've got nothing to do. And I feel like I run on such a high level of stress. Yeah, there you go. Always, because I'm so busy that when there's a gap, I'm like, fuck, what do I do now? Yeah. Because I'm so used to running off such a high level of stress that for me, I need to relax more. Yeah.
and work out how to relax more.
Do you and it's probably, it's probably why you were in the police. Did you when you're in the police, did you function well in a chaotic situation?
Yeah,
So if
I'd
it was
say
going
so.
off, you're like, I know what to do. I'm there.
Yeah, I'd say so. And I feel like my fight or flight instinct, I feel like I would react quickly to anything. Something happened now, walking out of there, someone, I don't know, collapsed in front of me. I'd know what to do.
Yeah.
I'd react quick to it, and my fight would kick in rather than my flight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like that is definitely
So
where
what about
I'm
if
at.
like your train's late? Does your head fall off?
Oh God. Yeah. So like, but that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
When your routine gets disrupted,
It's like the big stuff, you put me in a treatment centre full of 30 addicts, fucking all lunatics, and I'm all good.
Yeah.
Like I've got it going on, I'm like Mary Poppins, spinning shit around the room and
Yeah.
and my bus is delayed and or Aaron don't answer the phone to me and I'm like, that's my day fucking ruined.
Yeah.
Yeah. But put me in a chaotic situation and I'm good.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And that's so we're constantly in fight. Flight, sorry, fight.
No, fight, yeah.
We're constantly in fight, and I sleep really light.
Oh, and me.
Yeah, so I'm constantly just wake up at the drop of a hat.
And sometimes I have to tell myself to like chill. Like I feel like my shoulders are always like this.
Yeah.
And like even when I'm like watching the telly or whatever, and I'm constantly saying to myself, "Fucking chill out, will ya?" Yeah. Like I'm getting a bit better. I think I haven't done any meditation for a while, which is another thing for me I need to do. Anyway, back to Thailand.
so and to the person who is uneducated, all that stuff there, and it sounds like we've gone off topic about the relapse, but that's all tied to the relapse.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just all that's if I've picked up, as I did in Thailand, I've missed it. I was about 6 months late to my relapse in Thailand.
Yeah.
Like I'd already relapsed 6 months before.
Okay.
Before I picked up.
Right. Okay.
And anyone who does a kind of 12-step program will know that I'd already relapsed
before you actually
way
relapsed.
Before I picked up, way before. Aaron spotted it when I came back in October. He's not a 12-stepper, but he knew I was off.
Right.
He knew I was off, and he's like, not quite right.
Yeah.
But so and just kind of behaviours.
Yeah, it is. It's all about behaviour. Yeah.
Through shopping, pornography, sex, engaging with multiple women, just kind of feeding my ego.
Yeah.
Very similar to what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But I'm not. But I wasn't checking it.
Yes.
I'm checking it. And when I go home today, I'll just have to remember who I am.
Yeah.
What I'm capable of.
But you'll go to a meeting tonight. You said you were going to go
Thursday?
to a meeting. Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. It's not an everyday thing then.
It should be. It should be. Yeah, because I'm pretty unwell. But but it's not because it's because I get resentful and I'm like, I really don't want to listen to everyone's shit today. I can do an online one.
Okay.
I definitely do 4 things around my recovery every day. I could do a gratitude list every day. I know you want to talk about the relapse in Thailand. Let's go there. I've just gone off.
I know, but I really want to just say on that because I've recently listened to a podcast with Daniela Westbrook.
Yeah.
She talks a lot about the meetings
and
they just touching on how important they are. They're everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah, and it's important to go to good meetings.
Yes.
And a lot of health services, unfortunately, have the mental health crisis in the UK is at epidemic level. So what they tend to do is people are taking drugs and they've got mental health, so they direct everyone to a 12-step meeting. So what you end up is people in the meetings that are kind of using or not using, but have got mental health, and so it's important to go to a meeting that's balanced and has a good mix of people that are early in and people that are further along.
Yeah. Right, so we're end of November-ish, 2024. You're in Thailand.
Yeah, I left work on the Friday and I was all right. And effectively I was just an arsehole by Monday.
What happened?
I'd had an argument with someone on the Saturday. Said I was going to use, threatened them with that. So I'm going to use, I've had a fucking enough.
Right.
Didn't use, I went home and got up on the Sunday, didn't go to the meeting because I had a resentment with the person that was going to be at the meeting.
Right.
and went and scored crystal meth, which is not my drug of choice.
What actually is crystal meth?
Methamphetamine.
Okay.
Yeah,
in
so
crystal
like,
form.
Yeah, so amphetamine on steroids.
Okay.
And this is the level of insanity. So I smoke crystal meth and go, that's shit.
Compared to.
Well, I just thought, oh, that's shit. I'll inject it.
Right.
So if something's shit, you don't do it. But that's my nature. Find the next level.
Right.
And
so, I mean, for me, I wouldn't even know where to get drugs from.
Yeah.
So for you, you're in a different country, but you knew exactly where to go.
I didn't actually.
You didn't?
No, I scored crystal meth off a little old lady at the side of the road who had no teeth.
What?
I knew she was a crystal meth addict. I just knew her. I just knew she was. I didn't know her, but I just knew this lady. She had the look.
Right.
I was like, she's a drug addict.
Yeah, yeah.
Most drug addicts in Thailand are on crystal meth.
Okay. So could you have got something else, or was that all that was
I could have
available?
bought weed in a cafe.
Yeah, yeah.
That wasn't going to cut it though.
But no heroin or crack, you couldn't.
I did get heroin eventually. Yeah.
So how long did this relapse last for?
2 weeks.
So you were on it then for 2 weeks?
Yeah, a week in Thailand and then a week when I got home.
Fucking hell. So, but the difference here, what I'm coming to is you documented it on social media, didn't you?
Yes.
So your main platform, your following is on Facebook, isn't it? Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Majority. So you're putting what stories on, videos of you using?
No, there was none of me using.
Okay.
More just about. I think there was one actually. When it'd be hard to say I wasn't using. Yeah. Just a massive fall from where I was. And if you've looked at any of the stuff, you'll see within 2 weeks, totally different person. The weight was stripped off me. I was a big guy, about 19 stone. And, just stripped, completely stripped, covered in kind of sores, scabs, if you like.
Yeah, yeah. Within 2 weeks?
Within 2 weeks, yeah. The difference is night and day.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Because you think it would take a bit longer?
Yeah. Well, I think we pick up where we left off.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was pretty much where I left.
How did you feel?
Yeah, I was suicidal.
Was you?
Yeah, I tried to take my life at one point.
Is this only 3 months ago?
Yeah.
What was it? What do you recall anything coming to your head at the time?
Do you know what? I just had enough. I didn't. I suppose I'd just given up. And at the time, probably a bit pissed off that I wasn't successful.
Right.
Like how come other people, my friend Chris, other people that I've lost, how come they get to go and I don't? I've had enough.
Right.
I want to check out. And I know that's really sad because I've got children, I've got loved ones, but I've took a kick in for a long time, and I'm done.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's my prerogative.
So what changed at the end of that 2 weeks? What changed in you?
I started to post the relapse on social media. In the studio or on the phone, and I talk through that with them, and do you know what? People, just love me.
Yeah. What you needed.
Yeah, and it came from the most unlikely places.
It always does, doesn't it?
Yeah, and people just love me, and then I decided to get clean, and I did a rapid detox off methadone. I wouldn't suggest that for anybody.
When you say a rapid detox off methadone, just tell me quickly about that.
So I got methadone enough to last me for 4 weeks.
Okay.
Normally a detox lasts a few months. And I did it in about 2 weeks.
So you, I don't know, enough bottles or whatever to last you a month, but you did it. So was there any left over?
Yeah, there was. They gave me half a litre, 600 ml, so over half a litre to detox me. There was about, I think, 450.
So at the end of that 2 weeks, when you've done 2 weeks on it, what did you do then? Just rattle? off the methadone?
No, there was no rattle off it.
That was it. You were just fine.
There's a couple of sweaty nights, but apart from that, and I went to the gym. I was really lucky, and again, part of the support, I got some vitamin boosters, so that really helped. I started to plan, podcasts, a bit of meaning and purpose. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The social media thing was kicking off. So then I was like, okay, cool. You know what? So I've documented this detox. People told me not to do it.
The relapse.
Sorry. I documented the detox and the relapse.
Right.
And people told me not to do it.
Why?
At least, they're of the same kind of mindset as my sponsor, move quietly. This is not what we do, Dan.
Right.
And, it was nice when a couple of them said, actually, do you know what? We were wrong. And you did what hasn't been done.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
It's important to show that side.
Surely it's not the same for everybody. What if one person moves quietly and another person doesn't?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean to say that the end goal is not going to be the same.
No, I think we have to be really careful that because I can do that stuff and people can give me lots of affirmation, and I start thinking I'm a bit special, I'm a bit different, and it's really careful I don't go there, because then I start to think, oh, maybe I can use successfully.
Yeah, but you can't.
So, I tried for 23 years, so, I have to know that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You can tell me I can't. You can show me the last, year's worth of footage.
Yes.
But if I'm in that mindset, no, I could probably give it a go. I found a different way I'm going to try. It's insanity, isn't it?
Yeah. Because you had something like 4 million views on that relapse, didn't you?
Yeah, I think we're at 4 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
Across all,
across all the platforms.
We're at 3.5 on Facebook.
Yeah.
And that's still going up.
Yeah, yeah.
So
and it'll go up. It'll just continue.
Yeah, we're out of that kind of relapse footage now. So we've moved past that, and when you look at the kind of analytics, that that footage is gone now. It doesn't count that anymore. So what we're into is recovery stuff, and we're doing the boxing at the minute.
Yes.
So we're doing the boxing. There's a couple of reasons why we want to do the boxing. We want to raise money for Chris's mum's headstone.
Yep.
And what I found out recently is I can't box.
Okay.
Look, I can't box.
Where you've been boxing?
I can't really shit.
Can't box.
But in my head, I'm like Muhammad Ali.
Rocky.
Yeah. Like I've got moves, in my head. Yeah. I get in the ring and I'm like rigid,
You're a big lad. How tall are you?
6'3".
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what weight are you at?
18 stone.
Right. So you're a big lad. So, you're not going to be punching light.
So I'm totally relying on that.
Yeah.
That's it. I've got no skill whatsoever.
When's this going to happen?
6 weeks. We've got 6 weeks. 6 weeks, man. I'll be light as the wind. Watch.
That's a good focus, though, isn't it? So for the next 6 weeks, you're going to be focused on this boxing, aren't you?
Yeah.
So that helps, doesn't it? Because it's like you say, meaning and purpose.
Yeah.
For the next 6 weeks.
Yeah. So I've just finished treatment. So and again, as well as doing my recovery, I need to occupy my mind.
Yeah.
So as well as do the podcast. And it's funny, isn't it? Because I sit there and think about, so I'm no longer getting the dopamine hit that I get off the pod.
Yeah.
So I've got something else now. And I still have to maintain that because, we've built a platform and we're building a bigger platform. So it's like, I need to find something else to do. And then we're doing something else later on, which I can't talk about, just because of the sensitivity. But so I'm also aware that what I'm doing is good stuff.
Yeah.
But underpinning that is this search for the next hit.
Yeah, and the validation and the
not
dopamine.
necessarily the validation, but the dopamine, the excitement, where's my meaning and purpose. We spoke about it on the phone, but we can't talk about it on the pod.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, and I think a lot of us, to a degree, are the same in that way. Doesn't necessarily mean that, it's got to manifest into addictions or whatever, but the meaning and the purpose, it's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
And some we all have bad days, don't we? But I suppose it's realising it's just a bad day.
Yeah.
And that sometimes an early night and getting some sleep and just the next day you're fine.
Yeah. It's Yeah, and the boxing, is keeping me busy. I'm training kind of 4 days a week, and listen, I'm like lazy. Like I'm like, even in my recovery, I'm like, bring it to me when it's done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like the boxing, I'm like, I think I can just turn up and box, and I'm lucky I got the studio. They hold me back a little bit,
Yeah.
and just I don't think they would ever stop me. Well, they might, but we sit down and they go, okay, Dan, why do you want to do this?
Mm.
And I can talk a good one. So normally I can put a good argument forward, and those guys will call me out on my bullshit.
Yeah, you need people like that sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, and the thing we can't talk about, we were talking about the other day, and they were like, "So what's the reason?" I was like, "What did I say?" I said, "God's told me to do it."
Fair enough. Fair
You
dues.
can't argue with that, can you?
No.
It's just like they were all right, fair enough. I think Ives called it, didn't he? He went, "What is this? Like a God thing?" I said, "Yeah, it's that. Yeah, we'll go with that." And he was like, "All right, fair enough." So yeah, but you'll see that later on.
Yeah. Stay tuned on that.
While we're on the boxing thing, so Subsea FRB, who we just had on.
Yes.
Bless him, I love that guy. I'm like,
so I've spoke to him. He called me. Oh God, I can't even remember what it was.
Yeah.
And you think we go off on tangents? Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I couldn't keep up, man. I was like, whoa. He is, and he's like,
he's just like I love his energy.
Yeah.
And he's not a bad guy. Do you know what I mean? He's a really nice guy, and there's also, in amongst all that, there's a vulnerability about him.
Yeah.
His ADHD and he's on the spectrum. And I rate anyone, because he's doing the same thing I'm doing. I'm on the on the scale as well, and it's like he's taking all the energy and he's focusing it into something.
Got to use it as your leverage.
Absolutely, it becomes your superpower. And if you can harness that sort of energy, and make it work for you. And there are going to be days when it doesn't work for you. There are going to be days when you don't feel good enough, when you feel shit about yourself, and days but there'll be days when it does work for you, and you're able to achieve 3.5 million views.
Yeah. It's one of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, because you're against the clock today, so we're going to need to wrap up. But so the next feature is Spin Justice of the Week. So have you got a Spin Justice of the Week?
Go on, what was it? Break it. So what is it? It's an injustice.
Yeah.
Oh God, where do I start?
Just something that's meaningful to you, but it could be minor, it could be major.
Oh, I thought it was like something that pissed me off.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, I've got a whole list. We were talking about that on the way. We sat downstairs in the lobby. I said, things that really piss me off are these. McDonald's new coffee cups, they're shit.
Are they?
Yeah, they're paper.
I haven't had one for a while.
They're shit, aren't they?
But they're like it's like the paper straws, isn't it? What the fuck is that?
Yeah, what's that about?
Yeah.
I get it. It's a tick box, but yeah, what else? But people being late, Erin not answering the phone to me. Fucking hell, what else? The buses, like trying to get. I was saying to you, I was trying to get out of my village this morning. It's like fucking, they didn't want me to leave. So I felt like I was literally on the Truman Show. They told me to go and stand, more or less, in the middle of a field, and the bus is going to come. I was like, it's not, but it did.
Yeah.
and I got the train. What else pisses me off?
You've got a few. I feel like.
Yeah, I'm just generally pissed off most of the time. Yeah,
I am. So mine for this week is basically. Are you on any medication now?
I should be.
Right.
But I'm not.
But you're not?
No.
So I'm on a whole load of medication. So much so that...
What have you got?
Yeah, I've got none on me, unfortunately. But so much so that I've got this now prepaid prescription thing,
wow.
like
Yeah.
Like my mum and dad have, they're like 60s coming up to 70. I'm like 40 this year, and I'm on like a direct debit to the NHS, like £11 a month.
Was that an NHS thing?
Yeah, so basically it's a prepaid prescription, but because I'm on that much shit now, it's easier because a prescription, now is about £9 something, £9.60 or something, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm on more than that for what? So you might as well just.
It's per item.
Yeah, per item. Yeah. So I pay this £11 a month, and it just sorts me out. So I'm on stuff for like menopause, and I won't bore you with it. I've bored everyone to death with it. But yesterday, I've run out of patches, menopause patches, HRT, and I have to change it twice a week, yeah. So Wednesday night, Sunday morning, when we change the patch, gives me enough estrogen to level me out so I don't go completely fucking whipple.
Yeah, I get it, yeah.
So I've left the box on the side when I've used the last patch to remind me. So yeah, I've put the email into the doctors, repeat prescription, you just send an email, they send it to the chemist, lovely. So then I ring up the chemist yesterday morning, phone lines weren't working.
Yeah.
Couldn't fucking get through to the chemist. So 4 o'clock, I've had to drive to the fucking chemist. Do you know your phones ain't working? Yes, we know.
I left them off the hook.
Yeah, they said the whole of Bartley Greens told us that the fucking phones ain't working. Yeah. So I've gone in and said, right, prescription, is it ready? It's out of stock.
Okay.
Everywhere. 10 chemists I tried. Every single chemist said to me, Estradot is out of stock everywhere. So I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to... I started panicking at this point. I actually got very close to tears at one point because, you know, when you're just fighting, I've got to be on the bike in an hour's time. Yeah. I'm in the car, driving around chemists. No one's got what I need. There was another patch I was on before, but because I'm so fucking sweaty, it comes off. So these ones, the Estradot stay in place for me. Everall peel off within a day or two. I can't use them. I can't get them. So yesterday I was like, this is my fucking spin justice of the week. I've had a text this morning from the chemist to say...
Got me in stock.
No, they're not in stock. They've prescribed me an alternative, which is Everall, which don't work for me. Okay. I'm going to have to use it until they come into stock because I'm fucked now. So if anyone listening to this knows of any alternatives, because I hate, by the way, that I'm hooked with like pharmaceutical
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, I don't like it. Yeah. Believe me, I'm on lots
I wasn't going to say you were hooked, but I was going to stand like what you've described there is the very nature of addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something to change the way I feel, and it absolutely is medicated and it's right and proper that you should have that.
Yeah.
But you understand, you know.
And I'm thinking, surely, before Estradot was invented, what were women doing in the menopause? Just because surely there's something that I can take that doesn't mean that I'm going to have to be driving around chemists looking for a prescription. Do you know what I mean? There's got to be something I can take. So if anyone knows, fucking tell me, will you? Because
I'd love to comment. I'll get myself else for you. That's just fucking mad, weren't they? But men too, just on that, HRT, for me, I abused steroids for a long time. So I take a TRT.
Yeah.
Which is a testosterone replacement therapy.
Yeah.
Which is male menopause.
Right.
Google it, do research. You could do a great episode on it.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to. If you know
it's
anyone.
A real thing. It's a real thing.
I'd love to do an episode on that. Yeah. Right. Have you got any shout outs?
Yes. Making Change Studios, absolutely phenomenal, of course. And not just because I work with them, these guys, like me and Aaron are friends, and we've, that's happened out of a result of kind of, I had this vision, they brought it to life. And when I was fucked, they didn't just drop me. Yeah. They said, is it the right thing for you to do to come back and do the pod? Is posting the stuff? And, they manage my whole kind of profile now. So, they kind of advise me on what's good in terms of moving my profile forward, so yeah, big shout out to them. Without them, well, I'd be bored.
And we don't want to be bored.
Aaron would be bored without me.
Yeah.
He would have no one ringing his phone off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So making changes.
Making changes. GoFundMe, that you're going to post a link up for that. I'll send it to you. So Chris's mum's headstone. Subsidy. I'm sorry, I'm taking up loads of time.
No.
Subsidy FRB. Me and Leighton Homer. Leighton's also in recovery. We're going to have a fight. DNA, Kogan's, those guys are providing me with boxing training, which I really need. And Kogan's corner. I went there yesterday. He just told me straight, you can't box.
Honestly,
I rocked up. I said, let's get in the ring and have some sparring. This guy just looked. I think I'm someone special. And I'm
Where is it? Where's Kogan's based? Digbeth. Okay. Is it a boxing gym?
Yes.
Purely?
Yep.
Okay, right. Just on this then, instead of my shout-out being a shout-out, DNA are the sponsors of the show, as well as Southpaw Building Services. Okay. So we've got a couple of sponsors on board now. I want to do a knife crime episode where we get on board different boxing gyms across Birmingham, where we can collaborate together, whether it's, see, over by me, we've got Nana's, we've got Anderson's, we've got DNA, Fitness Factory. Manning's
Nice.
is. So I want to see how many of these gyms are going to collaborate, come on the podcast, maybe a representative from a handful of gyms, and how we can provide a safe environment for youngsters now to get them off the streets.
Yeah.
So that I really want to push this episode, but as we know, we need to put it out in the atmosphere for it to happen.
Yes.
So me announcing it now, it's obviously going to be put out into the atmosphere. People are going to watch it, and I'm going to get messages saying, "I'll be on board with that. I'll be on board with that." I'll tag them in.
Yeah,
I'll tag as many. You tag as many, and then we'll see how we can collaborate on that.
I think it would be great. I think it would be great. And, yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks for coming on.
What? Lovely.
Sorry for taking up so much time.
It was good.
It was good.
It was good.
Thanks, Carl. This episode was sponsored by DNA Boxing School of Excellence and Southport Building and Property Services. If you have a topic that you want to discuss, get in touch at b31spinjustice@gmail.com or via Instagram @spinjustice.